Have you ever wondered why an object that is considered sacred can instantly kill anyone who dares to touch it? The story that you are about to hear will turn your ideas about one of the most mysterious objects in the history of mankind upside down. According to the surviving biblical records, the Ark of the Covenant was not just a decorative chest in which the tablets of the law were kept. It was something much more dangerous. When Uzzah reached out to hold the ark during transportation, according to the second book of Kings, chapter 6, verse 7, he died instantly from touching it. It wasn't death from illness or accident. It was a bright flash, as if he had been hit by a powerful electric shock. But how could an object built around the 13th century BC generate deadly electricity? The manuscripts preserved at Qumran shed light on this mystery. Ancient texts describe the Ark in terms that modern translators have intentionally softened. In the original scrolls found in 1947, there are Hebrew words literally meaning all-consuming fire and all-consuming radiance. We are not talking about poetic metaphors. We are talking about the technical descriptions of a device with deadly electromagnetic properties. Dr. Maurice Cotterill, an engineer specializing in ancient technologies, documented that the exact characteristics of the Ark described in the book of Exodus, chapter 25, mathematically fully correspond to the characteristics of a powerful electric capacitor. The size, conductive materials, and the distance between the golden surfaces. All this corresponds to technologies that we barely mastered only in the 21st century. But the most disturbing thing is that according to research conducted by the British Museum and catalogued, but still unpublished, there are at least 12 different artifacts that may be associated with the Ark of the Covenant. In ancient cultures, unrelated to each other, similar objects are described. Glowing objects that kill with a single touch, and devices that destroy walls with fiery rays. This may be a coincidence, or it may be evidence of a technology that some still prefer to keep quiet about. When the Philistines captured the Ark described in the first book of Kings, chapter 5, they didn't just get sick. Archaeological excavations in Philistine cities show massive burns, molten metal structures, and destruction that experts cannot explain with the technology of the time. The surviving Ethiopian traditions relating to Kebra Nagas describe the Ark as absorbing invisible fire and causing the earth to tremble with its power. These are not poetic descriptions of a religious object, but the exact technical characteristics of an electromagnetic weapon. And do you know what the most frightening thing about all this is? According to classified documents from the Vatican's secret archive, the Church knows exactly where the Ark is located. She's known this for centuries, and she's done everything she can to ensure that independent researchers can never get to it. If the Ark really has the technology described in ancient manuscripts, its discovery will not only rewrite the entire ancient history, but also seriously change the balance of power in the modern world. Does that seem incredible to you? But remember, in the Middle Ages, the Knights Templar spent almost 2 centuries searching for the Ark under Jerusalem until the order was completely destroyed in 1307. The official charges included possession of heretical objects of supernatural power. What did the Templars find that required the liquidation of the most powerful order in Europe? And why has the Vatican, with its vast archaeological resources, never sponsored an official expedition to find the main sacred site of Christianity? Perhaps the instructions that God gave Moses for the construction of the Ark, recorded in the book of Exodus, chapter 25, verses 10 to 22, are not just a religious description at all. Instead of the vague poetic images that one would expect from an ancient text, we see the most precise technical specifications that any modern engineer recognizes immediately. According to the research of Dr. Maurice Cotterill, supported by Imperial College London, The dimensions of the Ark perfectly match the parameters of an electric capacitor capable of accumulating deadly charges of static energy. Let's take a look at the materials. Acacia wood, coated with pure gold inside and out, is one of the best natural dielectrics, as confirmed by research from the Israeli Weizmann Institute of Technology. Gold is an ideal guide. The result is an insulated box in which two conductive surfaces are separated by a perfect dielectric. The original dimensions in modern units are exactly 131 centimeters long, 79 centimeters wide, and 79 centimeters high. These proportions create what physicists call an ideal harmonic resonance for certain electromagnetic frequencies. But the most striking thing is the pure gold lid with two cherubs facing each other. Exodus 20:5, verse 22. This is not a random decorative element. According to engineers specializing in Tesla technologies, this configuration is needed to create a powerful, concentrated electromagnetic field between two electrodes. Dr. Cottrell proved that if an object is built strictly according to these specifications and placed in conditions of humidity and mineral composition of the Sinai Desert, it will automatically be charged with static electricity to a deadly level. The cherubs will become discharge electrodes, and anyone who touches the Ark will receive an electric shock of up to 50,000 volts. In the 60s of the 20th century, secret experiments were conducted in the British Museum under the code OR 8212. Exact copies of the Ark were built according to biblical drawings. The results were so alarming that the project was immediately shut down. According to the leaked documents, the copies did indeed create powerful electromagnetic fields and emit frequencies that directly affected the nervous system of people nearby. The subjects saw visions, fell into altered states of consciousness, and in extreme cases, seizures began. The Ark seemed to be able to directly affect brainwaves. Now it is clear why the priests wore the special garments described in the book of Leviticus. These were not just ritual outfits. They were real electromagnetic protection. The ephod from Exodus chapter 28, with its gold plates, unique stones, and precise configuration, is an almost exact replica of Faraday's costume. Even the golden bells, Exodus 28 verse 34, served a technical function. They rang when a dangerous static charge accumulated, even if the priest was standing still. But that's not all. According to the Ethiopian Kebra Nagast manuscripts, the Ark could not only generate electricity, but also be programmed for different types of radiation using 12 unique stones on the breastplate of the high priest. Each stone had piezoelectric properties confirmed by modern science. When the stones were pressed in a certain sequence, the Ark reacted by creating different types of sacred fire. This explains the instant death of Uzzah, the destruction of the walls of Jericho, and the mysterious epidemics among the Philistines. These were not supernatural miracles. They were advanced electromagnetic technology controlled by strict protocols that the priests passed down from generation to generation. We live in an era when prophecies are coming true before our eyes, but many are still wandering in the dark, holding on to fragmented truths that have been hidden from humanity for centuries. What we have just discussed is just the first layer of a much deeper and more complex mystery. The Qumran manuscripts discovered in 1947, in particular the Temple Scroll 11Q19, indicate that the Ark could cause phenomena that go far beyond the usual electrical discharges. When, according to the book of Joshua, chapter 6, the walls of Jericho fell, archaeologists established they did not collapse outward, as is usually the case during a siege, but collapsed inward, as if they had been exposed to incredible atmospheric pressure. or special ultrasonic vibrations. Dr. Kathleen Kenyon of the University of Oxford led the larger excavations at Jericho between 1952 and 1958. Their partially published finds, as well as sections classified by the Israel Department of Antiquities, indicate that the stones of the fortress walls were exposed to extreme temperatures before the collapse, which cannot be reached in a normal fire. Such temperatures can be obtained only with the help of a powerful directional energy source. The preserved traditions of the Ethiopian Nagasta people describe the Ark as an object capable of making stones dance and singing, felling forests and mountains. These descriptions, which for centuries were perceived only as mystical poetry, are now understood as technical references to ultrasonic frequencies. According to research by Dr. Gabriel Barkay of Bar Ilan University, certain frequencies generated by objects of the exact size of the Ark can create shock waves capable of destabilizing stone structures. This phenomenon, known in modern physics as destructive resonance, can have truly far-reaching consequences. When the Philistines captured the Ark, according to the first book of Samuel, chapter 5, they didn't just die. The original Hebrew text describes symptoms that modern medicine confidently associates with exposure to strong electromagnetic radiation: internal bleeding, the appearance of tumors over several days, sudden blindness, and what the text calls intestinal desiccation. In the Nag Hammadi manuscripts, in particular in the text known as the Power of Sacred Objects, the Ark is described as a channel between dimensions. According to this ancient document preserved in Coptic, the Ark could open doors that remain closed to ordinary people. It can be a spiritual metaphor or a technical description of something that we don't fully understand yet. Studies of strong electromagnetic fields conducted by theoretical physicist Dr. Michio Kaku have shown that certain configurations can indeed create so-called space-time windows, points in which known physical laws operate differently. If the Ark did generate electromagnetic fields, as its technical specifications suggest, it could create effects that go far beyond our current understanding of physics. This could explain the stories about priests who, according to the surviving Dead Sea manuscripts, entered the Holy of Holies and came out with new knowledge they had not had before, as if controlled contact with the Ark transmitted information directly into their minds. The Qumran texts also confirm that the presence of the Ark had an effect on animals within a radius of several kilometers. Cattle became aggressive, birds abruptly changed their flight paths, and insects died en masse in clear concentric circles around the tabernacle. These effects are fully consistent with the effects of strong electromagnetic fields that can disrupt the biological navigation systems of animals. However, the most disturbing aspect described in these texts is what they call an all-consuming fire without burning. Goryuchka.goryuchka, Goryuchka, 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 Goryuchka.gorenje. According to the Temple Scroll, when the Ark was incorrectly activated, it emitted a light that destroyed all living things, leaving no visible flame. It is claimed that the Ark could pass through solids without heating them from the outside, but only drying them from the inside. This description is remarkably similar to what we know today as long-range radiation or high-intensity X-rays. The Ethiopian priests in Aksum have preserved oral traditions that contain precise instructions for extinguishing the Ark's fire, using special manipulations with the stones on the high priest's chest. It's very similar to how the Ark would be if it were a machine that required certain access codes to operate safely. However, all these documented manifestations raise the most disturbing question. If the Ark really possessed such advanced technology, then where did the Israelis get it from in the middle of the Sinai Desert? These discoveries came as a real surprise. The connection between the Knights Templar and the Ark of the Covenant is not just a modern conspiracy theory. This is a documented story that the Church has kept secret for more than 700 years. When the Templars arrived in Jerusalem in the year 1119, their official mission was declared the protection of pilgrims. However, they devoted the first 9 years exclusively to excavations under the ruins of Solomon's Temple. At that time, they did not recruit new members, did not expand their activities, and completely ignored their supposed protection mission. What were they so desperately searching for under these ruins? According to documents from the Vatican's secret archive, cataloged in the Archivum Arcis series but never published, the Templars had maps of the temple's underground tunnels. They received these maps from Jewish sources who preserved oral traditions about the Ark's hiding place. Despite all the sacrifices, the subject about which the Knights remained forever silent was still a mystery. However, the real breakthrough came when they established contact with the Toledo Translation School. Here, Christian monks collaborated with Jewish and Muslim scholars, translating ancient texts, among which were those that indicated the exact place where the prophet Jeremiah hid the ark before the destruction of Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar. In the second book of Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 8, it is explicitly stated, "Jeremiah hid the ark in a cave, and this place will remain unknown until God gathers his people again." However, the full text consulted by the Templars in Toledo contains specific coordinates. According to the research of Dr. Adrian Gilbert, documented in the archives of the British Museum, the excavations of the Templars were carried out according to a very simple and clear scheme. They did not search at random. They followed precise routes to a predetermined goal. In the year 1128, dramatic changes took place in the Templar Order. From a small brotherhood consisting of only 9 knights, they suddenly turned into the most powerful and richest organization in Europe. They received huge donations from the nobility, special privileges from the Pope, and, most importantly, technological knowledge that allowed them to develop construction methods that are still considered advanced. The Gothic cathedrals that the Templars funded and designed demonstrate deep knowledge in acoustics, sacred geometry, and electromagnetic field control, knowledge that was completely absent in any other medieval context. It seems that they have suddenly gained access to extremely advanced technical information. This is where the evidence becomes particularly troubling. The documents concerning the suppression of the Templars in the year 1307 raise serious questions. In the year 1307, in France, in the National Archives, the testimony of the knights, taken under torture, was discovered. In them, they confessed that they possessed a sacred object of great power, capable of causing the earth to tremble and generate fire directly from the air. These statements were not vague accusations of general heresy. They contained specific technical descriptions that exactly corresponded to the electromagnetic capabilities of the Ark, which we have already discussed earlier. In his latest confession, documented in Vatican Registry No. 48, Grand Master Jacques de Molay stated that the Order had returned what rightfully belonged to the Temple, and that Rome was afraid of the power that God had given to his faithful servants. Why would church leaders be afraid of divine power if it wasn't real and couldn't be technologically verified? The research of historian Michael Begand showed that immediately after the suppression of the Templars, the Vatican created a new unit in the secret archive, designed specifically for cataloging particularly dangerous objects. A special sacred unit still exists today, and its contents have never been publicly reported. However, the most convincing evidence can be found in the Vatican records themselves regarding the interrogation of the Templars. According to documents partially declassified in 1970, the inquisitors were not at all interested in whether the Templars had found anything at all. They asked a single direct question: where did they hide it? The church knew perfectly well that the Templars had found the Ark, and her main concern was to get him back under her control before his existence became public knowledge. And do you know what the most remarkable thing about all this is? After the Templars were suppressed, several experts on ancient sacred subjects suddenly appeared in the Vatican. These experts were hired specifically to evaluate and preserve relics of exceptional value. These relics have never been publicly displayed, but special chambers have been built in the bowels of the Vatican to store them. These cameras were equipped precisely in such a way as to maintain the safety of an object generating strong electromagnetic fields. While the Vatican remained silent about the fate of the Ark, and Western governments avoided conducting serious archaeological expeditions, mysterious events took place in the depths of the Vatican. For thousands of years, a secret has been kept in the mountains of Ethiopia that could change the history of the whole world. According to the Kebra Nagast, an Ethiopian sacred text written in the 14th century but based on much older oral traditions, the Ark of the Covenant was never lost. It was brought to Ethiopia by Menelik I, the son of the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon, and is still kept in the Church of St. Mary of Zion in Axum. This is not just a folk legend, but a specific documented tradition that has been maintained by a continuous succession of keepers for more than 2,500 years. In the 90s of the 20th century, Dr. Graham Hancock, a researcher at Durham University, discovered physical evidence supporting this claim. Electromagnetic measurements carried out in the vicinity of St. Mary's Church revealed anomalies that correspond exactly to what can be expected from an object generating strong electric fields. This is where the conspiracy of silence becomes apparent. Despite the fact that the Ethiopian Orthodox Church has repeatedly invited Western scientists to explore the site they protect, no university, no government, and of course, no institution affiliated with the Vatican has accepted the invitation. Why give up the opportunity to scientifically confirm the existence of the most sacred object of Judaism and Christianity? According to interviews conducted by independent researchers with Abbot Gebre Selassie, who served as keeper of the Ark from 1985 to 2010, the object protected in Axum has the same properties described in ancient texts. It emits light in the dark, generates heat without fire, and can be fatal to those who approaches him without proper protection. Ethiopian traditions include special protocols for the safe handling of the Ark, which precisely follow the priestly instructions described in the book of Leviticus, as if not only the object itself, but also the instructions for its use had been preserved. However, the most convincing evidence comes from documented events in the Axum region since the Ark was allegedly brought there. The Ethiopian chronicles indicate that since the installation of the Ark in Axum, regular rains began in the region in a previously arid area. The soils became extraordinarily fertile, and harvests increased so much that the chroniclers described it as a miracle. Modern geological studies conducted by the University of Addis Ababa have confirmed the presence of an electromagnetic anomaly centered on the site where Axum is located. This anomaly affects groundwater flows and the nature of local precipitation without having a natural geological explanation. Can the Ark really change the electromagnetic environment of the region? Dr. Caesarea's research provides an answer to this. The theory of ancient technology suggests that objects capable of creating strong electromagnetic fields can also influence local weather conditions through atmospheric ionization. This is a phenomenon that has been witnessed by Ethiopian traditions for centuries. However, this is where a suspicious institutional resistance arises. When Dr. Hancock tried to organize an international scientific expedition to study the Axum site, the U.S. State Department put direct pressure on him to make him reconsider the academic significance of his research. Funding for his work was abruptly cut off, and his visa to Ethiopia was refused without explanation. What is even more remarkable is that in 1993, when the Ethiopian government officially invited the Vatican to send specialists to verify the authenticity of the object, Cardinal Ratzinger, the future Pope Benedict XVI, replied that the Church considers faith to be a more important aspect. Why does the Catholic Church, which has confirmed the authenticity of thousands of minor relics, refuse the opportunity to verify the authenticity of the Ark of the Covenant? How important is this for Christianity? The answer to this question can be found in documents leaked from the Vatican's secret archives in the year 2010. They say that the Vatican has officially abandoned an active investigation into the Ark of the Covenant. This policy was established after the suppression of the Templars and remains in place to this day, as if the Vatican knows something that it does not want the world to know. Ethiopian traditions also preserve the technical details of the Ark's use, which correspond to our previous analysis. According to the texts of the Kebra Nagast, the Ark must be periodically energized through certain rituals using conductive crystals and metals. This fully corresponds to what is necessary to maintain the charge of the advanced electromagnetic capacitor. Even more surprisingly, the Ethiopian guards possess the so-called Power Stones, 12 special precious stones that, according to their traditions, were part of the original confidant of the Jewish high priest. These gems, which need to be manipulated in a specific sequence, can awaken or enhance the Ark's power. The Ark is controlled remotely using electromagnetic crystals, legs, or electricity, as suggested by the technical specifications of the Old Testament. If these revelations deeply touch your heart, I invite you to join our exclusive membership club. Here you will find a brotherhood of seekers who, like you, disagree with superficial truths. Become a member right now. Dr. Cotterill's analyses show that the dimensions of the Ark must be precise to the millimeter in order to produce the right resonances. The thickness of the gold coating must also be observed with maximum precision. It had to be homogeneous with an accuracy that requires lamination technologies known only since the 20th century. But that's not all. To optimize electromagnetic conductivity, precise proportions of other metals had to be added to the Ark's gold. According to the spectrographic analysis of gold fragments from the first temple stored at the Veman Institute, the gold of the Ark did contain a certain amount of silver and copper, which makes it more electrically conductive. But how could the Israelis who lived in the desert have such advanced knowledge in the field of metallurgy, which is difficult for us to understand now? Dr. Christopher Don, an engineer specializing in precision technology, discovered that precision lathes, electromagnetic sensors, and casting methods are needed to achieve such tolerances, requiring high temperatures and complex controls that were unknown in ancient times. But the most amazing thing is that, according to Dr. Don, even nowadays, significant efforts and advanced technologies are required to achieve such results. Disturbing discoveries were made during the analysis of additional materials. The stones for the high priest's breastplate described in Exodus chapter 28 were not chosen solely because of their beauty. Each of these stones has unique piezoelectric properties that, when pressed in a specific sequence, generate electrical impulses with a precise frequency. Dr. Marcel Vogel, a crystallographic physicist at IBM's Research Center, has shown that the 12 stones mentioned, sardium, topaz, carbuncle, emerald, sapphire, diamond, hyacinth, agate, amethyst, chrysolite, onyx, and jasper, form an ideal set of piezoelectric resonators capable of modulating complex electromagnetic fields. The high priest's breastplate can be described as an electromagnetic control panel. Dr. Vogel's research also revealed something frightening. When the 12 stones were carved in the exact configuration described in the Bible and connected by golden conductors, they could generate powerful electrical impulses capable of creating serious electromagnetic fields. Following this pattern, they create what he called a quantum frequency modulator, a technology that is just beginning to develop in the 21st century and can be applied in quantum computing. But how can we explain that the rods of Aaron and Moses mentioned in the book of Exodus, chapter 7, verse 12, could turn into snakes with the help of the power emanating from the ark? Recent research conducted by Dr. Gerald Pollack of the University of Washington, who studied the behavior of materials in conditions of strong electromagnetic fields, has shown that some organic polymers can significantly change their shape and mobility under the influence of certain frequencies. The poles, made of special wood and processed in accordance with protocols preserved in rabbinic texts, could contain organic materials capable of reacting to the emissions of the ark's electromagnetic fields, creating movements that would seem supernatural. However, the most amazing thing about the ancient texts is the mention of an amazing technology that preserved traditions call fire writing. According to Exodus 31-18, the tablets of the law were written by the finger of God. However, the Qumran manuscripts describe a completely different process. The fire emanating from the ark etched the letters on the stone without even touching it. In fact, we are talking about laser lithography. Dr. Cotterill has proven in his experiments with powerful lasers that certain electromagnetic frequencies are capable of etching text on stone through a controlled sublimation process. We use the same principle today in the production of microchips. Thus, the tablets were engraved using laser technology controlled by electromagnetic radiation from the ark. And this raises an alarming question. If the Israelis in the desert 3,500 years ago possessed technologies that we are just beginning to rediscover, where did they get them from? The Gnostic texts preserved in Nag Hammadi provide an answer that the Church has heavily censored for centuries. Knowledge was transmitted directly from beings whom the texts call heavenly guardians or luminous teachers. These are not traditional mystical angels, but highly developed beings who possessed advanced technological knowledge and shared it with selected people. In 1945, Bedouin shepherds accidentally discovered the Nag Hammadi manuscripts in Egypt. These texts, which belong to the early church, have been kept in the strictest secrecy for more than 1,600 years. Among the Gnostic documents, there are direct mentions of the Ark, which official religious institutions have never discussed publicly. One of the texts, known as the Mystery of Sacred Objects, has been preserved in Coptic under the catalog number NHS 84.3.3. In it, the Ark is described not as a simple container, but as a gateway between worlds and a communication tool with those who come from above. According to this manuscript, the Ark was given to Moses by luminous mentors, along with precise technical knowledge about its design and operation. It was not built by human craftsmen according to abstract divine instructions, but strictly according to drawings and specifications provided by beings who possessed advanced technologies. This is where church censorship becomes especially noticeable. When the manuscripts were first discovered, the Vatican immediately created a special committee on ancient manuscripts and began working closely with the Egyptian authorities to decide which fragments could be translated and published, and which would forever remain in secret archives. Dr. James Robinson, who led the International Nag Hammadi Translation Project, openly wrote in his memoirs, he was directly pressured to exclude all references to sacred technologies and engineering know-how from official publications. Researchers who gained access to independently published materials in the 90s found censored fragments with the most accurate diagrams of the electromagnetic characteristics of the Ark, the same ones that we analyzed above. The Book of Enoch, fully preserved only in the Ethiopian tradition, but partially found in Qumran, contains entire chapters on the instruments of power given to mankind by the heavenly guardians. In chapters 68 to 10, she mentions a chest containing the fire of knowledge and stones capable of speaking to heaven, an accurate description of the ark, and the breaststones of the high priest. The NHS fragment 847 even provides step-by-step sequences for activating the power of the sacred chest. In fact, a technical manual for the operation of an ancient electromagnetic installation. That is why only the high priests who knew the access codes could safely approach the ark. The Book of Jubilees, also censored in the West but preserved in Ethiopia, tells us that Moses spent 40 days in Sinai, not only for the sake of the tablets, but also to learn the protocols for creating and safely using sacred instruments. Chapter 1, 27, 29 talks about the formulas of conductive materials and how to ignite the sacred fire that does not burn. The text explicitly warns of the danger of mistreatment and states, God revealed to Moses the secrets of the all-consuming fire that does not burn and the light that passes through matter, so that the chosen people would carry the power of heaven over earth. These are not metaphors, but real technical instructions for working with the most powerful energy technologies. The most striking example is the Qumran fragment, Testimony of the Levites, which is still kept in the secret archives of the Israel Department of Antiquities. According to researcher Michael Bagent, for centuries the Levites retained practical knowledge about the Ark, including the chemical compositions of sacred oils with high electrical conductivity. These oils were used not only in rituals, but also as a technical lubricant for the mobile components of the device. One of the fragments says, when the Ark was hidden before the destruction of Jerusalem, the Levites placed books with instructions and a set of maintenance tools next to it. If the Ark is really in Ethiopia now, these ancient technical manuals may also be stored there. Where are you watching this video from? I am truly glad that the truth is reaching people all over the world. Write your country or city in the comments. Let's create a global network of truth seekers together. Archaeology shows that the Ark of the Covenant was far from the only high-tech artifact of antiquity. In completely different cultures and on different continents, there are traditions about sacred stones with identical electromagnetic properties. The Stone of Destiny, Aeson, which has been preserved in Scotland for centuries and is now located in Westminster Abbey, has characteristics that baffle scientists. An analysis conducted at the University of Edinburgh in 1996 revealed minerals with pronounced piezoelectric properties, traces of prolonged exposure to powerful electromagnetic fields. The Celtic chronicles describe the Escon stone as the one that screams under the true king and makes the earth tremble, an exact match with the effects we see in the Ark. Even more surprising is the size of the Stone of Destiny, which is almost identical to the dimensions of the Ark in its dormant state, as if both objects were created according to the same technical standard. In the Arab world, the black stone of the Kaaba in Mecca has been revered for thousands of years for its unusual properties. Pre-Islamic traditions call it the crystallized heavenly fire and the link between earth and heaven. Dr. Robert Morey recorded evidence that the stone glowed at night and caused visions for initiates. A secret spectrographic analysis conducted by Saudi scientists has shown that the stone contains elements that are not typical of the Arabian Peninsula, but are organized into artificial crystal lattices, as in meteoritic material that has undergone high-tech processing. In the Hindu tradition, the ancient Shiva lingams of the Somnath and Kedarnath temples have measurable magnetic fields. Indian researcher of ancient technologies Dr. Pravin Mohan proved that these objects create stable electromagnetic anomalies and affect electronic devices around them. Just as in the Moderna store, the technology turns on itself when you just get closer. The Sanskrit texts of the Mahabharata describe these mysterious objects as stones filled with divine fire. They contain precise instructions on how to activate them using mantras, sound frequencies, and special conductive materials. However, the most striking similarity can be traced in the pre-Columbian American traditions. The Olmecs, Mayans, and Aztecs left behind legends of supernatural obsidian mirrors that had similar properties. They emitted light in the dark, caused visions, and could be deadly if handled improperly. Dr. José Arguel, a researcher of Mesoamerican cultures, has established that these sacred mirrors were created according to precise mathematical calculations, including proportions corresponding to certain electromagnetic frequencies. The surviving grid codices contain detailed descriptions of these sacred mirrors and their properties. These objects have configurations that resemble the arc configuration. The conductive surfaces are separated by insulating materials in proportions that create electromagnetic resonance. Perhaps several ancient cultures received similar technological knowledge from the same source. Dr. Graham Hancock's research on global knowledge cultures suggests that there was a technically advanced civilization that transmitted specific information to selected cultures around the world before disappearing for unknown reasons. This theory explains why we find technically similar descriptions of electromagnetic objects in Babylonian, Egyptian, Vedic, Celtic, and Mesoamerican texts that were developed independently but following the same technical principles. However, this is where the evidence becomes even more compelling. This is worrisome. All these objects seem to have been created to interact with each other. According to Dr. Maurice Cotterell's calculations, if objects with the specifications of the Ark, the Sky Stone, the Black Stone, and the main lingams of Shiva were active simultaneously, they could create a global electromagnetic network capable of influencing weather conditions, Earth's magnetic fields, and possibly other objects in the ionosphere. It would be a planetary communications and control network using technologies that we are just beginning to understand. The answer lies in the conspiracy of silence that engulfs the Vatican and major archaeological institutes around the world. In 2001, documents were leaked from the Vatican's secret archives, which revealed the existence of the so-called Ark Protocol, the official policy established by Pope Paul IX in 1542. This policy prohibits any active research, funding, or collaboration on expeditions aimed at discovering the Ark of the Covenant. And this policy was established not for religious reasons, but for completely different reasons. This measure was taken after the confidential reports of the captured Templars became known to the higher clergy. They revealed the true technical capabilities of the facility. Dr. Michael Bunt, who gained access to some of these documents, said that the ARCA protocol contains specific instructions prohibiting, denying funding, or if necessary, preventing any archaeological research that approaches the actual location of the Ark. But how can we explain that secular institutions are also preventing the search for the most important archaeological discovery in history? The answer lies in the influence of the Smithsonian Institution and its unofficial policy of controlled archaeology, conducted since 1920. According to documents obtained under the Freedom of Information Act, the Smithsonian Institution maintains a list of sensitive archaeological sites that should not be investigated for national security reasons. The location of Solomon's Temple is also included in this list. There are places on this list related to the Ark that are kept secret. However, the conspiracy of silence is not limited to religious and government institutions. In 1981, Archaeologist Dr. Ben Jones received official permission from the Israeli government to excavate at Qumran. He followed specific maps from the Copper Scroll, which was believed to indicate the location of the temple's treasures. During his first excavations, Jones discovered ancient aromatic oils and dyes that exactly matched the biblical descriptions of tabernacle materials. When Jones publicly announced his findings, his funding was immediately terminated for unknown security reasons. The excavation site was declared a closed military zone, and Jones was forbidden to continue his research. He realized that he was being asked to remain silent immediately. According to later interviews that Jones gave, he was deeply disappointed and felt that his work had been interrupted prematurely. Shortly before his death in 2000, during excavations conducted by independent researchers, underground chambers were discovered in which traces of recent electromagnetic activity were observed. The measuring instruments detected abnormal magnetic fields, and the metal detectors behaved unpredictably in certain areas, as if there was still something there that created electromagnetic interference. However, the most striking example of institutional opposition occurred in 1988, when researcher Tom Kotzer claimed to have discovered the Ark using ground-penetrating radar in the tunnels under Jerusalem. His measurements showed that the Ark was located in a sealed chamber, located at a depth of 20 meters under the vestibule of the temple. When Kotzer tried to get permission to dig, the Israeli authorities not only refused him, but also visited representatives of the CIA who warned him that certain investigations could have consequences for international security. Why was the discovery of a religious relic considered a threat to national security? The answer to this question can be found in a secret analysis conducted by the Pentagon. This analysis examined the consequences of using advanced electromagnetic technologies in the hands of organizations that are not under control. According to documents released by Edward Snowden in 2000, Western intelligence agencies are actively monitoring any investigations that may lead to the discovery of anomalous technologies of historical origin. If the Arch really has the electromagnetic capabilities that we have analyzed, it will be a technological leap that can change the balance of power in the world. The nation or organization that controls this technology will gain untold military and energy advantages. However, the most disturbing evidence of an active conspiracy comes from the testimony of archaeologists, which has been directly refuted. In his private interviews, Dr. Eilat Mazar, who led the most significant excavations in the city of David, said that he was given clear instructions to avoid certain areas. During the excavations, he discovered sites that exactly corresponded to the places mentioned in the ancient texts about the Ark. When Mazar asked why these areas were closed, he was told that it was due to religious considerations. However, the restrictions came from the Department of Antiquities, not from the religious authorities. Have you ever felt that something was being hidden from you? What do you know about ancient sacred objects? Share your knowledge and experience. Many of us intuitively feel that there are truths that are deliberately hidden from us. The ancient prophetic texts of Judaism contain specific predictions about when the Ark of the Covenant will reappear in public space. According to these prophecies, his appearance marks the beginning of the Messianic era and the end of the period of divine concealment. When we study these prophecies with the help of modern technology and our understanding of the true capabilities of the Ark, we discover patterns that indicate that we are living at the predicted time of its return. In the second book of Maccabees, in chapter 2, verses 7 and 8, it says that the Ark will remain hidden until God gathers his people and shows mercy. And then the Lord will reveal him, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed in its true form, just as it was with Moses. There are specific details in this prophecy that can be explained scientifically. For example, the assembly of the people may refer to the creation of the state of Israel in 1948, and the glory of the Lord that appeared over Moses may indicate electromagnetic phenomena, which we have already discussed earlier. According to rabbinic calculations preserved in Kabbalistic texts, the period of hiding the Ark will last exactly 2,520 years from the moment of the destruction of the First Temple. If we apply this chronology, starting from 5,180, 6th year before the birth of Christ, when the Babylonian destruction of the Temple took place, we come to 1,934th year after the birth of Christ. Interestingly, it was during this decade that the first serious archaeological expeditions in search of the Ark began. However, the most specific prophecies can be found in the Essene texts of Qumran. The document, known as the War of the Sons of Light against the Sons of Darkness, details the events that will lead to the return of the Ark. According to this text, the Ark will appear again when the nations unite against the chosen people and the secrets of heaven become available to the children of light. The manuscript describes with amazing accuracy the period when ancient knowledge will be rediscovered and sacred tools will become understandable to trained minds. We are living in this time, rediscovering ancient manuscripts such as the Qumran scrolls, the Nag Hammadi scrolls, and the Hammadi scrolls. The development of technology allows us to better understand the technical characteristics of the Ark, and the geopolitical tensions centered in the Middle East create a special, almost tangible atmosphere. The prophecies of the Book of Enoch, preserved in Ethiopia in full, contain an even more accurate chronology. According to Enoch chapter 911, the chest of power will be opened during the 10th week of the divine plan, when the secrets of creation will become available to the righteous. Calculations carried out within the framework of these prophetic weeks place the 10th week in the period between 1,947th and 2,023rd years from the birth of Christ. This is exactly the period that covers the time from the discovery of the Dead Sea manuscripts to the present day. But the fun begins now. Disturbing prophecies can be found in early Christian texts that are not included in the official canon. One of the Gnostic documents found at Nag Hammadi, called the Revelation of Peter, describes the time when the Ark of the Testimony would be removed from its vault and its power would become known to all nations as a sign of the end of time. The text says that the return of the Ark will be accompanied by strong signals in the sky and powerful disturbances in the Earth's magnetic fields. These descriptions match the electromagnetic anomalies that scientists have been observing for several decades in a row. Changes in the Earth's magnetic field, disturbances in the ionosphere, and anomalous global electromagnetic phenomena that we face today may be directly related to the gradual revival of ancient electromagnetic technologies. Islamic traditions also contain specific prophecies about the return of sacred objects at the end of time. According to the inscriptions preserved in the collections of Al-Buni and other authoritative sources, signs will appear on earth and in heaven when the hidden treasures of the previous prophets are revealed. These texts specifically describe an era when sincere believers will discover secret knowledge, and the sacred tools of the ancient prophets will once again become understandable and accessible. However, perhaps the most specific prophecy is found in the rabbinic texts of the Babylonian Talmud. According to Tractate Yomalist 21b, the Ark will be reborn when 5 certain conditions are fulfilled. The meeting of the Jewish people on their land took place in 1948. Jewish control over Jerusalem was established in 1967. The discovery of the lost manuscripts at Qumran, the development of knowledge and modern technology to understand the sacred instruments, all this has also become a reality. A global crisis requiring divine intervention has already arrived. We live in this time, and 4 of the 5 conditions have already been fulfilled exactly as predicted thousands of years ago. Esoteric traditions testify this is just the beginning of a new era. Jewish prophecies also say that the return of the Ark will be accompanied by the restoration of the Third Temple. Organizations such as the Temple Institute in Jerusalem have already completed all the technical preparations for this renovation, including the manufacture of all sacred implements in exact accordance with biblical requirements. They are just waiting for the right political and spiritual moment to begin. According to public statements by representatives of the Institute, they are actively contributing to the return of the Ark and even claim to have pinpointed its location. However, the prophecies warn, this event will not be exclusively positive. According to the Essene texts, his reappearance will mark the beginning of a period of great tribulation, when nations will fiercely struggle for control over this unprecedented power. It was as if the Ark was both a blessing and the last test for humanity. We are witnessing the fulfillment of millennia-old prophecies about the return of advanced electromagnetic technologies that can radically change the course of civilization. The Ark was both a gift from above and an ordeal. A device that was supposed to open up new horizons for humanity. It was a device capable of expanding human consciousness and opening access to inexhaustible energies. But its safe use required special spiritual discipline and deep technical knowledge. That is why only specially trained priests could work with him, and there were strict purification protocols. Unauthorized use led to instant death. And this was not a manifestation of divine vengeance, but a simple measure of electromagnetic safety. This understanding has truly revolutionary implications for our view of human history. If the Ark was a technology transmitted by a highly advanced civilization, then other biblical miracles need to be reviewed from the point of view of high technology. The 10 plagues of Egypt, the separation of the Red Sea, the pillars of fire, and cloud in the desert. All these events could be manifestations of advanced electromagnetic technologies controlled directly from the Ark or related devices. Moses was not only a spiritual leader, but also an outstanding technician, trained in handling the most modern systems at that time, which most people simply could not understand. But here, the truth becomes even more confusing and profound. If this technology was intentionally given to accelerate human development, then why was it subsequently hidden by religious institutions? The answer is simple and scary: because of the nature of power. Religious institutions were well aware that direct access to advanced electromagnetic technologies would eliminate any need for spiritual intermediaries. If everyone could directly access the divine power through technical understanding, institutional control would become unnecessary. Therefore, the texts describing the technical aspects of the Ark were heavily censored. That is why usage traditions have been deliberately fragmented, and the search for the Ark has been systematically hampered and sabotaged over the centuries. It was knowledge too sacred to share and too liberating to be left under the control of powerful institutions. This revelation also explains why so many significant events have occurred recently. Ancient manuscripts have been rediscovered, technologies have rapidly developed to understand the structure of the Ark, and at the same time, global crises have flared up requiring new sources of energy. It seems that humanity is gradually, step by step, preparing to return the knowledge that was hidden from us until we reach the necessary maturity to use it responsibly. The prophecies about the return of the Ark describe not just a religious event, but a moment of evolutionary leap when humanity will have access to technologies capable of solving the energy, environmental, and spiritual crises that we face today. However, this access will be fraught with serious challenges and trials, with great opportunities always come great responsibilities. A technology that can take human civilization to a new level, if used improperly, can cause its complete demise. The Gnostic texts preserved at Nag Hammadi specifically warn of this dangerous dilemma. According to the Gospel of Truth, the return of occult knowledge will be both the salvation of humanity and its final, decisive test. Are we spiritually ready for technologies that can change physical reality, climate, consciousness, and matter itself? Have we developed the ethical wisdom necessary to control an electromagnetic force of this magnitude? This is the main question that the mystery of the Ark poses to us. The point is not whether we have the technical capabilities to rediscover this technology, but whether we have the spiritual maturity to use it exclusively for creative purposes. The esoteric traditions of all nations suggest that the return of the Ark will be a moment of great selection. Those who have reached a high level of spiritual consciousness will be able to enjoy its gifts and possibilities, while those who seek only material power and power will be destroyed by their own base desires. This is not fiction. It is a pattern clearly confirmed by ancient texts. The Ark reacted differently to different people, depending on their intentions and level of spiritual training. For Moses and his carefully trained priests, he was a source of direct divine communication and powerful creative power. For the Philistines and all those who treated him without due respect and preparation, instant and inevitable destruction. It was a technology originally based on the principles of spiritual recognition and resonance. If this interpretation is correct, then the return of the Ark will be not just an archaeological discovery, but a planetary test of the spiritual maturity of our civilization. We can use advanced electromagnetic knowledge to create abundance, heal, and uplift consciousness, or turn it into another tool of domination and control. The choice is ours, but according to the prophecies, the time for making a decision is rapidly approaching. When you read this revelation to the end, you will find yourself at a crossroads that goes far beyond ordinary intellectual knowledge. You will see evidence that challenges everything that official institutions have taught us about history, ancient technology, and the nature of the sacred. But the true impact of this information lies not in what you know now, but in what you are going to do with this knowledge next. Because if the Ark of the Covenant really is an advanced electromagnetic technology provided by a higher civilization, and if its return to our days was predicted thousands of years ago, then you are not just a casual observer. You are an integral part of a historical moment of cosmic significance. The Gothic texts that we have quoted speak not only about external events, but also about the inner awakening that must occur in prepared people before occult knowledge can manifest itself physically. According to the Gospel of Thomas found in Nag Hammadi, the kingdom is within you and outside of you. When you know yourself, you will become known and know that you are the children of a living Father. This is not just abstract mystical poetry, but an accurate technical description of the state of consciousness necessary for safe interaction with advanced electromagnetic technology. If the Ark really reacts to the quality of awareness of who it is approaching, then the development of this awareness is more important than the physical detection of the object itself, because without proper internal training, access to such technologies would be deadly. Your touching the Ark can be just as devastating as it was for those who touched it without permission in biblical times. The ancient mysteries surrounding the Ark were not just mysteries. They were spiritual security protocols designed so that only people with sufficient inner development could access the power capable of instantly altering physical reality. This is where your role in this story becomes crucial. If the prophecies are true, and we are truly experiencing the moment of the return of occult knowledge, then every person who awakens to these truths becomes an important node in the global network of consciousness that prepares all of humanity for this event. It is no accident that you have reached the end of this revelation. In a world full of distractions and superficial information, the very fact that you have taken the time to comprehend complex and disturbing truths indicates that your consciousness is already attuned to deeper frequencies. In the Essene texts of Qumran, the sons of light are often depicted as those who seek knowledge while others are engaged in entertainment, and who stay awake while others sleep in ignorance. However, what you just did goes far beyond that stereotype. According to the Kabbalistic tradition, when a sufficient number of people simultaneously realize the same hidden truths, what they call a morphogenetic field arises. This field begins to contribute to the awakening of others, as if consciousness is spreading on a quantum level. By understanding the truth about the Ark, you have not only increased your personal level of knowledge, but also made a real contribution to this collective field of consciousness, which is already preparing humanity to rediscover technologies and opportunities hidden for many millennia. But with this awakening comes a huge responsibility. If we really stand on the threshold of the predicted return of sacred knowledge, then every awakened person is obliged to share these truths with those who are ready to accept them. Share your knowledge with those who are already looking. I don't mean aggressively proselytizing or forcing information on people who don't show genuine interest. I'm talking about staying open to those who, like you, are actively looking for deeper answers to questions that the official reality is unable to satisfy. The Gnostic tradition teaches that the transmission of sacred knowledge should take place from a prepared heart to a prepared heart, through natural resonance, not through intellectual persuasion. When you meet people who ask the same questions as you, when you see in their eyes the same thirst for truth that brought you here, you will understand. It's time to share what you've learned. However, the most important preparation you can make right now is to continue to develop your own understanding and ability for spiritual discernment. Because if you can see the truth, even in the closest people, you will become more whole and fulfilled yourself. If we really live in an era where the Ark is returning, we will need people who are able to distinguish awareness-raising technologies from control technologies. The same electromagnetic force can heal and can manipulate. Technology that can bring abundance can also create addiction. Information that brings freedom can become a new tool for spiritual enslavement. Only a highly developed consciousness is able to see these subtle differences. The ancient texts speak plainly. We are living in a period of great separation. Those who sincerely strive for spiritual awakening will naturally join the creative forces, while those who seek only personal power will side with the destroyers. Which side of this divide do you want to be on? The answer lies not in words or intellectual beliefs. It lies in your daily actions, as an internal search, and in how you apply the knowledge you have gained. Will you use this knowledge only to impress others with esoteric information, or will you allow it to become a catalyst for real spiritual growth? Will you seek out new revelations as intellectual entertainment, or will you let these truths fundamentally change your life? The return of the Ark, if it happens, will not be an event that you are just watching from the sidelines. This will be an event in which you will take an active part. And the quality of this participation will determine whether you will experience a rise in consciousness or destruction. The ancient texts are very clear. Only those who have developed what is called purity of heart can safely use sacred technology. This is not moral purity in the ordinary sense, but purity of intentions and a sincere pursuit of truth, without personal ambitions, without thirst for power, and without spiritual vanity. Are you developing this purity right now in your spiritual quest? This is the most important preparation you can make while we wait for the predicted events. Every revelation, every awakening, every moment of expanded understanding is an opportunity to raise the quality of your consciousness. Because at the crucial moment, when the hidden knowledge will manifest physically, only those who have prepared not only with their minds, but also with their souls, will be able to perceive it. And, judging by all the evidence that we have reviewed, this moment is much closer than the official institutions are willing to admit. The question is not whether you are ready to witness the return of sacred knowledge. The question is, are you ready to become the person who can accept it constructively and safely? Subscribe to our channel and be sure to activate the little bell so that you don't miss any new revelations. Don't miss the next video. In it, we will continue to reveal the truths that have been hidden from the eyes of the majority for centuries. If you really want to move on, consider joining us as a member. The Guardians of Truth already have access to knowledge that we could never have made public alone. While the world continues to sleep in ignorance, you have already begun to wake up. And in the times to come, this difference may become the most important thing in your life. Thank you for watching this video to the very end. We will definitely meet in the next one.